Welcome aboard, Del Raisers. Welcome aboard. It is episode number 499 coming to you on this Monday, October 21st. Welcome. Good to see you. Good to hear you. Good to feel you. What's going on today? How was your weekend? I'm just getting my week started here. Beautiful weather outside and feeling pretty good today. Had a great weekend. I was at the Saratoga Mountain Winery with the great Bill Burr. An amazing audience. Outdoor show. 3,000 people or something like that. And an amphitheater. Only the second time I've ever done comedy outside. I did it for the Oddball Festival years back, which was incredible. But nothing compared to this. This was absolutely smoking. The audience was great. The venue's beautiful. I had done the venue years ago with Styx and another time with Dwight Yoakam back in my music days, and it was just kind of a little venue that the rich people wanted to have rock and roll or country music. I don't know what they were thinking. They were like, we don't want to go into San Jose and slum it with the peasants. Let's have our own venue. And so they built this venue. When I did it back in the day, it had some lawn chairs. And I remember I was doing it with Dwight Yoakam. And I hadn't seen my dad in like 20 years. We don't get along. And like most comics probably, or artists. Mama. But I was out there playing songs and like 20 rows back. I hadn't seen my dad in a good 20 years. And they're like 20 rows back. He stands up, "That's my son." And I was like, oh, wow. You're just coming here to try to make this right now? Hilarious. Funny shit, man. Funny shit how life is, but it was great to go back. This venue has been revamped, and it's just beautiful. Beautiful. And then all the people were great. It was, if you were there, thank you. Thank you so much for coming out. Some upcoming shows coming up. Lots of great stuff. I'm going to be, let's see here. I got a gig coming up here out of nowhere. I'm going to do Terrapin Station on November 21st. That's Phil Lesch's club in Mill Valley. Tickets will be available, I think, this week. $18. Small venue. I'm coming up to headline. First time they've ever done comedy, so I'm pretty proud to be doing that. That's cool. Terrapin Station. That's November 21st. Let's see. November 7th, Detroit. That's sold out. Joey Diaz and I. Omaha Funny Bone. Omaha 8. November 8 and 9. All these are on the website, but I got to say them because people go, oh, when you coming? And it's like, well, fuck, go to the website, deandelray.com. It's right there, you dummies. You dummies. As great Fred Sanford would say, you big dummy. December 12th, La Jolla Comedy Store. This is a great event. Toys for Tots. Bring a toy out. Let's help some kids get some G.I. Joes with Kung Fu grip. December 21st, Vegas, the Cosmopolitan with Bill Burr. 27th of December, Caluso, that's up by Sacramento. And then the 28th, Palace of Fine Arts, 2 shows. First one sold out. Those are both with Joey Diaz, the Caluso and Palace of Fine Arts. January 4th, just added Fresno. And January 13th, I think, through the 19th, is Las Vegas Comedy Cellar. So shitloads of shows. Get your tickets. Come see me. I want to shout out all the Patreon people, the brand new Patreoners. There's a lot of them. Patreon.com/DeanDelRay. I've got 53 bonus episodes. There's a brand new one up there right now where I talk about going to the premiere of the thrash metal documentary Murder in the Front Row. What a great fucking film. Here are the Patreoners. Young Sandback. Elisa. Holy shit. Del Razors, there's another woman. I think we've got 6 women, female listeners now. Hell yeah. Arthur Michian, Quentin Farrow, Laura Singe. Oh shit, there's 2. Damn, this thing could be getting big. Jay Udall. What else? Daniel Brennan, Ty Price, Laura. Oh, I just said her name like a dummy I am. But let's give her 2 shout outs. Laura Singe, Jerry Grayson. Okay, those are the brand new Patreoners. And I'm loving the Patreon. I'm starting to get the hang of it. Picking some topics, ranting on them, telling you what I've been doing all week. I'm going to see the Rainbow Bar and Grill documentary this week, and I'll be talking about that on the next Patreon, which is, I can't wait to see that. The Rainbow Bar and Grill. There's fucking no place on the planet like it. No place. Still open, 2019. It just got made a historic landmark. They got the Lemmy statue there. The amount of rock and roll in there, oh my God. You walk in and you can just feel it. Anyway, so I'll talk about that on the next Patreon. I want to tell you who's on the show today. You guys are probably going like, yeah, who the fuck is on? Well, you saw who was on when you clicked on it. It's Mike Miley. Michael Miley. Mike Miley. Yes. Give this man multiple shout outs. He is a crushing drummer for my favorite band, the Rival Sons. And it was so good to sit down and talk to him. And right after I talked to him, I watched the Rival Sons on PBS.com. You can go to PBS.com and watch these guys give a special Lifetime Achievement Award for the Grammys to, I think that's what it is. It's some kind of artist award that the Grammys gave out to Black Sabbath a few months ago, and they had Rival Sons give it to them. And then the Rivals played 2 Sabbath songs, and holy shit, did they crush it. Especially Miley was just back there grooving the shit, man. Right in front of Bill Ward, Tony Iommi, and Geezer. Man, it doesn't get more nerve-wracking than that. And these guys murdered it. Not only were those guys there, but it was all kinds of the Grammy people and music bigwigs and everything, and they laid the shit out. So go see that. Watch that on PBS.com. Before I get into the episode, I just want to give you guys a little read here. You know how I got CBD Lion as my sponsor. I absolutely been using this CBD Lion stuff nonstop. CBDLion.com. Go to the website and use the code DEAN. I want to read this letter real quick, just so you guys can hear it, because it made me happy. Hey, Dean, just wanted to share a quick testimonial of CBD Lion. I have lots of anxiety. I've been self-medicating pothead for over a decade now. CBD wasn't around back then, and I'm afraid of taking pills daily. I hear you, brother. I'll take pain over fucking painkillers, man. That shit is deadly. Plus, I'm an open mic comic with no health insurance. Fuck, I can relate to this dude. I've been using the tincture and vapor pens for a couple weeks now and really like the product. Last week, I stopped smoking weed entirely, as well as stopped drinking alcohol. Last time I tried going straight sober, I had multiple panic attacks and couldn't handle the constant anxiety of my brain running rampant. Since going straight CBD Lion last week, I have 0 panic attacks and very minimal anxiety. It's like a miracle. My stage presence has changed 180 degrees. I'm not shy, and I'm way more outgoing in general. I feel like my normal self, and I'm very happy about it. Thank you for taking on CBD Lion as a sponsor. I love the continuous discounts. That's right, you get 20% off, everybody, with the code DEAN. I have also thanked them for sponsoring you and Joey. Final note, I had a faulty vapor pen that they sent me. I emailed them, and the next day they shipped a new one out. Great customer service. CBD Lion rocks. And that's Dan Marganansky. I'm sure I fucked his name up, but God, that's such a cool letter. It is true. People ask me all the time, does it work? Hey, man, I mean, it works for me. It's working for people. CBD, it's perfect for me. I sleep great with the tinctures, fall asleep, sleep all night. I rub the creams on my neck. My joint aches are all gone from riding motorcycles for years. CBD Lion, completely organic. And I'm working on a song. I'm writing a song. So I'll fire up the guitar. A little theme song. CBD Lion, you should be trying some CBD Lion. It's so dumb. Anyway, CBDLion.com. Use the code Dean. Let's get into it right now. Here he is. One of my good friends, the great Mike Miley. All right, here we are, another episode of Let the Beat Talk. Another drummer. I'm turning into the drum podcast.
Yeah, man.
I've had all the kings on. Now I got you on, man. This is great to have you on. Introduce yourself.
My name is Mike Miley. I play drums with Rival Sons, and I tour with Dean Del Rey.
Yeah.
All the time.
You know what's funny, dude? Is like you were one of the first guests back in the day, and you don't even remember. And I barely remembered, but I do remember. I think you guys were making Head Down, and you called from Nashville from the studio.
Oh, okay. So it was set up through the label or something.
No,
it wasn't set up.
I hit somehow like on Instagram or something. Or I can't really remember if you were first or I had Jay on first around Pressure and Time. I don't know, but you called from a studio and you said, hey, man, I just want to say we're working on the new record and stuff. And you were on for, I think, 15 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Years ago.
Was I not that talkative? Or
No, I don't do phoners ever.
Okay.
I hate phoners. They sound like shit.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh, cool. We got an update of what's going on. Because at the time, I still do, always talk about you guys' band. But I think that's why you called in. And I've been doing this thing 8 years now.
Yeah, because that was 2012 when we did Head Down.
Wow. So, holy smokes, man. It's crazy. I didn't even know, but you played in the Carson Daly
House band.
House band. That's funny to think because you and I, what was the show you did over here, the talk show we went to? Rival Sons played after we did the Fillmore? What's
gosh.
that? Corbin.
James Corbin.
Yeah. It has to be. Once I found out about that, I thought maybe that, like when you walked in there, that was like your gig for a long time, walking in and playing in a house band. What was that about?
It was fun. Well, back in the day, I toured with this guy called Joe Firstman. We opened for Sheryl Crow. Sean Pelton was her drummer, and he's the Saturday Night Live drummer. For 25, 30 years now.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, and so I studied with him. I took a few lessons with him, and I sat behind him while he played with Cheryl, and just soaked in his vibe. He's such a great drummer, good pocket.
He took Jim Boge's place?
Uh-huh.
Oh, gotcha.
Yep. And I think Jim went back, and then her producers took over Jim's spot. So Jim was in and out. I never got to see her with Jim, but Sean he's greasy, and he's like Philly funk, he's got that quest. He's in the Philly zone of stuff. So I soaked him in. And my dream was always to be in a house band. I love the Letterman band, growing
they were
up.
Great.
Anton Fig on drums, Willie on bass, and Paul Schaefer's a ninja. So all those guys, I was a total music nerd growing up. So that was kind of my dream. And then Joe Firstman got the musical director chair. He was good friends with Carson Daly. So I did that for 5 years until they cut the studio audience budget. So.
Yeah, then they just went to doing it at like restaurants at night or during the day. But
on location,
he'd be
stuff,
like at a place, I remember, and then he'd be like, oh yeah, and here's such and such. And then it would be, that was a strange show, but he got to keep working.
Yeah.
Which was great.
Yeah, he kept
Where
working.
did you guys shoot that? Over there at CBS?
NBC.
Oh, NBC.
Yeah, right across the lot from Leno, right next door to Ellen. So.
Oh, I know, right there. Oh, yeah.
We did. The cool thing for us was we're all car guys, and so every day you'd see what's Leno driving to work today.
Yeah.
He'd always drive a different car to work.
Oh, yeah, that guy's
epic.
crazy, right?
Yeah.
When it's funny because I have been to numerous tapings of Friends over the years, and it looks like such an easy gig. You just come in about an hour before, right? Kind of go over some stuff, play through the 1 hour taping, and then go home.
Yeah, we did 2 shows. Carson did we would do Tuesday and Thursday. So Monday was always a rerun. So Tuesday would be fresh news. Wednesday would be kind of day-old news, and then Thursday would be fresh news, and Friday would be, day-old news. So we did 2 shows twice a week.
Oh, so you just work twice a week, two tapings, same studio audience, or are they? Wow.
Yeah. So different guests come in. We'd have a break. We'd get there and rehearse. Say like for Jerry Rice. Was a guest. That's one of the main ones I remember. I grew up a 49ers fan.
Oh man, they're killing right now.
I know, yeah. 5-0, dude. I'm very happy. Got to meet Jerry, and I think one of his favorite bands was like the Commodores or something. So we've laid down this funky groove, and then if the actor was like Dax Shepard, played something kind of funny, he's a funny comedian, or would you call him a comedian, or is he just an actor who's funny?
Comedic actor.
Comedic actor, yeah.
Yep.
Idiocracy is one of my favorite movies of all time, so I love Dax Shepard. So we would do something kind of something humorous. So we would just try to match the vibe with whoever was coming up there. It was really fun. We wrote all our own riffs and stuff.
Did you get any kind of TV royalties?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's awesome.
That was my first taste of mailbox money. I mean, we're not talking like 6-digit checks, but we're
still
it was
the ones that come and you're like, ooh,
yeah,
all right.
Yeah, it comes like rent's due in 3 days, and you get $6,000 in the mail. You're like, yeah,
I know. Now, did that gig pay pretty good? You get health care and stuff?
There was. I'm trying to remember. I think we had access to it. I was so broke back then. I just took every penny I got.
How long ago was that?
With the reruns and everything, it would be about $1,100-$1,200 a show. And so, if you did enough shows per year, you would do okay. It was a supplemental gig. It wasn't like I was making like buy house money or anything. So.
Yeah. Now, what year was that?
That was 2005 to 2009. Approximately.
And were you gigging at night on top of that, like with other bands and stuff? Were you just a session guy? Because I know you played with Veruca Salt for a while, but did you just nightly in Hollywood playing gigs?
Yeah, I was a hotel cafe circuit guy. I also started what became Rival Sons with Scott in 2005 as well. So I was sort of moonlighting doing that as well, working with Scott, recording. Then we got him with Dave Cobb before Jay was in the band. Then we got Jay in 2008, released the album in 2009. And then sort of right when we released the album, Carson's budget, got dropped, and we were out. So I was like, okay, I'm going to just go full guns blazing with Rival Sons, and it's been nonstop ever since.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Now, when you were working at Carson, you lived in LA, and then you move to Long Beach?
No, I was living in Hollywood, and then I got in this horrible relationship. I got a house with this girl, and then she dumped me like 3 weeks into the 12-month lease. And she's like, well, we'll just be friends and roommates. And I'm like, no. Got a lawyer. I got out of the lease, and it was pretty ugly. And then I was couch surfing for about 2 years because Rival Sons was touring so much.
Right.
So I just figured if I'm going to be home half the year, I'll go do laundry at my mom's for 3 or 4 days, and then stay with a girlfriend or something for 3 or 4 days. And,
yeah, just artist
I made it work.
Style.
Yeah.
Now, when you guys, of course, I had Jay on super early, I think it's 7 years ago now, which is crazy. But when you guys are first put the band together, you and Scott and Robin, was he in the band?
Yeah, Robin.
And you guys are looking for a singer. I love this story because of course, Jay wasn't a rock singer. He was doing kind of the singer-songwriter, coffee shop stuff. I talked to Jay way into same stuff I was into, Neil Young, all that stuff. All country was big for a while and everything. But when you guys get the nucleus of the band, are you immediately like, we're going to be a full-on rock band and we got to find a singer?
Oh, yeah. And so when Scott, exactly the way you just mentioned it, and Scott Holiday, our guitar player, he found Jay on MySpace, and he's like, he calls me, he's like, aren't you friends with this guy Jay from Long Beach, Jay Buchanan? And I'm like, yeah, I played in his band. And
you were playing, like Jay was just doing kind of a like acoustic, like 3-piece.
No, he had a full band. It was a 4-piece band, 2 guitars, bass, and drums, and it was called Buchanan. They had a record out on Ultimatum back in 2002 or 3-ish, and I was playing with them on the writing sessions for that. And he always struck me as like Otis Redding meets Joni Mitchell, and like folky but real soulful. And so Scott found him on MySpace, calls me up. He's like, I found our singer. And I'm like, oh, well, who is it? He's like, don't you know this guy Jay? And I'm like, if I had been drinking something, I would have spit it across the room laughing, because I'm like, Jay will never join this band. Like, he's like in the Joni Mitchell meets Peter Gabriel meets Otis Redding world. He's never going to be a rock
Carole
singer.
King.
Yeah. Because if any of y'all who are listening haven't heard Jay's solo stuff, you got to look it up. His voice is beautiful in every setting that he's in. I think he's probably one of the best male vocalists on planet Earth.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I told Scott, there's no way he'll do it. He's like,
let me ask you real quick. I don't want to interrupt you, but what did Scott see there? If he's looking at this folky type singer, how does he even in his mind think this is going to work in our full-on rock band? How did he see that?
I think the story goes, he saw him singing "Satan is a Woman," one of his old songs, and it's really vocal gymnastics, a lot of blues. There's a lot of grit in there, like all the elements of Jay are just showcased in that song. And I think Scott just was like, this guy's soulful, he's bluesy, he's expressive, he's got super range. That's our guy. It's obvious. It was so apparent to Scott. And
did you have other guys coming in? Were you auditioning guys?
No. I was ready to quit.
Really?
I was ready to quit the band, and we got dropped. We had another singer. We got dropped from EMI, and I'd been dropped before, and then working with Joe and doing the TV stuff and Hollywood, it was just taking a toll on me. I'm like, screw this music business shit, man. I'm over it. And then...
Wait, so you guys got an actual deal with another singer?
Yeah.
And what, went in and did demos and they dropped you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. What was that? Like, was it Rival Sons, but just a different singer?
No. We started calling it Rival Sons when Jay came in.
Oh,
so
man.
Jay was the cherry on top. He was the final... he was the solidification of what our vision was. When Scott and I first were talking, he had another bass player. I was like, I think we need a new bass player. I know this jazz guy, because I knew we needed for this vision of like playing. I call it maximum R&B, and that's
right.
what the Who called it when they came out. So we play R&B turned up. We're not playing like riffs like AC/DC or Bon Jovi or Motley Crue or any like. Those power chords. We don't do power chords. We do single note stuff like Keith Richards stuff meets Zeppelin and Hendrix. We're all influenced by the blues, R&B, gospel music, which is the same as the Beatles and the Who. Stones were all influenced by American gospel, R&B, and blues music. So that's the ingredients in the soup that makes Rival Sons. So Jay was like the final solidification of that. So
when you guys get a hold of Jay, he comes in, you guys say, we've got a couple songs, you want to sing them? Or do you do some covers when he auditions? Is he like, of course he's got to be like, I don't know about this.
Initially, he really dug Memphis Sun on our first album, what became Memphis Sun, and we jammed that. And then for the only time we've ever extended a jam, like it was like 20 minutes. We just kept rocking. Because that song's like 3 minutes on the album, and so we just kept grooving, and Jay was just riffing over it, and I think we played Angel, Tell Me Something, a couple others off the album, but Jay was really drawn to that song. He didn't really like the rest of the album at first, and so
so you had the whole album wrote, because you were demoing it with EMI, and then you get dropped, and then he doesn't like that, but once he's in there. How do you actually get interest going again, just from smoke and chemistry that was going on now that you got this front man?
Yeah, I mean, it was, at that point, it was, when we got Jay, it became sort of this potential supergroup, because he had record deals. He was known in the industry. I had deals and management and stuff. Scott was signed to Atlantic Records back in the day with Human Lab, and so we all kind of had like a pedigree, street cred, if you will. And then we booked some shows. We played the Derby. We played Gypsy Lounge in Orange County, and then Jay knew the guy booking House of Blues. He booked us 2 months in a row, like the final Friday of both these months, February and March or something, and. By the March gig, we had management, and by September, we were signed to Earache. And
that's crazy.
Yeah, and then we got a song in that was the theme music for the IndyCar series in 2010.
And you guys played Indy in the middle.
Oh yeah, we played in the pits. We traveled around and did events for IndyCar and for Van Heusen. It was sponsored by iZod. So it was iZod IndyCar series, and met the drivers and rode in race cars, and it was pretty. So we had a pretty good launch from the beginning.
I didn't even hear about the band on the first record at all, and I'm of course a heavy new music searching. But then when Pressure and Time comes, somebody sends it over to me. Early advance or whatever, check this out. And I was like, oh shit, this band's great. Who is this?
Nice.
And then I was hooked, Burr and I went to the Echoplex, saw you guys play. Yeah, and it was from then on. Of course, I had Jay on right when the record came out, and then I had Scott on.
Did you say you went with Burr to the Echoplex?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I took Burr because I turned Burr on to it. I go, let's go see these guys. And it was a weird night where Burr and I both had off. And that was years ago where, Burr was big, but he's not where he is now. Mm-hmm. So, now he's got a wife, a kid. Well, I think he had a wife then, but he's got a kid now and 5 careers, So to get him to go now is like almost crazy. But we went and it was magic. It was just packed and you guys were just killing it. And we talked to you guys after the show.
Yeah.
We waited and walked up to the stage. Hey, great gig, man. And
that was fun.
And then from then on, I've been following the band, of course. Now, I went to the Grammy show last week. You guys played the Grammy Museum.
Mm-hmm. Grammy Spotlight.
Yeah.
Little intimate gig.
It was great. And I heard that the reason you played drums is because of Phil Collins, that song
In the Air Tonight.
In the Air Tonight. What is your background? Where'd you grow up? LA?
Originally Northern California till I was about 8 or 9. East Bay. I grew up in Pleasanton, San Leandro, Hayward.
Oh shit, you're
Fremont,
an East Bay rocker.
East Bay,
Fremont. You ever go to Niles Station?
No, I was young.
Oh yeah,
when I lived up there.
Yeah, that's right.
My dad lived up there, and my parents were separated, and then so I was visiting him in San Leandro all the time, and we were living in Pleasanton, and then we moved down to Orange County, and when I was in 3rd grade. So I've been down in Southern Cal since I was 8 or 9 years old. So yeah, so my dad's like super into music and always playing music from Steely Dan to Cream, to Eric Clapton solo, Paul McCartney, Wings, Beatles, Jackson Browne, Warren Zevon, the LA scene, the Eagles, and I grew up with all different kinds of that music.
That's all my favorite.
Yeah.
Steely Dan, dude. I can't get enough of Steely Dan.
It's one of my favorites.
I listen to it weekly. I do a thing now. It used to be Carole King every Sunday. for most of my life. But now I do Steely Dan Sundays. I just fire it on all day Sunday. And then at the end of the night, I throw on the Carole King Tapestry.
Okay.
That's my Sunday now.
Nice.
But I've seen Steely Dan multiple times live. I've been listening to them all my life. And unfortunately, they call this stuff yacht rock now, which I can't stand when they make up these stations and then that's what it is. Yacht rock. It's like, no, it's fucking fantastic music.
It's highbrow jazz pop, you know?
Yeah.
With funky lyrics, stories. Donald Fagen knows how to tell a story. Royal Scam, come on. Bernard Purdie on drums. All those albums, that's a sound. When I hear that sound, it's the sound of me growing up, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's a sound of the ultimate high fidelity, the ultimate recordings, and just pure analog and songwriting galore, which is crazy. So your dad's way into music, and you hear the Phil Collins, you go, okay, I want to get a drum kit. So do you get one right away?
Yeah, my stepmom's brother was a drummer in the Bay Area music scene, playing cover bands, and you know he was playing all over the place. And we went.
What's his name?
Mark Blackman.
Oh, who did he play with? Just cover bands.
Cover bands and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he ever gained a big name, but we went over to his house on a Saturday, barbecue and stuff. I never left his studio. I was sitting there going do 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 do. But he only had
time on a kit.
Yeah, he had like a 4-piece kit. So I couldn't figure. I'm like, how did Phil Collins do that humongous? I didn't realize that he had like 9-piece kit. So you know, to do the span of the tone from the top to the bottom of that.
You remember what kind of kit it was?
Phil Collins plays Gretsch or
no, I mean
Pearl,
that
was a CB700.
CB700, classic.
I ended up getting that kit for my 9th birthday.
Wow. Wow. 9 years old, you got a CB700.
Yeah.
And you bring it up here to LA, Orange County?
Orange County. Then I saved up when Appetite for Destruction came out. I saved up all summer and got a Tama Rockstar, the black kit that Steven Adler played. And then I combined those two kits together. So I had a black and orange kit, like the black Tama Rockstar and the orange CB700. The orange, man, I wish I still had that thing.
Wow, that's cool. Dave Lombardo had him on recently. He recently went on eBay and bought his first kit. Not the exact one, but the exact setup, you know?
No way.
Now, so Appetite hits, and you know, but he had like a 5-piece kit. Were you getting into metal? Were you double bassing or anything, or were you just rock and roll?
I heard an interview with John Bonham. My dad showed me, it was written or verbal, I forgot what it was, but I remember Bonham saying, they asked him if he played 2 bass drums, and he was like, bloody hell no, I never need one of those, you know, basically, he's like, my foot is fast enough, like, how dare you ask me that, you know?
Yeah,
and so I always thought that was cool, and I was into Jeff Porcaro, too, from Toto, and he played with Boss Gags, he played with everybody. Jeff Porcaro's discography is like...
Just smoking.
Yeah. God rest his soul. I love him. He's one of my favorite drummers. Hold the Line is another song that hooked me on the drums. Another great groove. Toto's first album, and Toto was always the studio guys that were playing all the cheesy love songs. And my theory is that they all looked at each other and said, "Hey, we could do this. We know how to write cheesy love songs and
but they're great songs.
Play the heck out of them. Yeah,
I love them.
Yeah, oh yeah.
They're not cheesy in a way of like there's cheesy out there. We know, of course. You know.
Should have known better.
Like Captain and Tennille, you know, or something. That's like cheap, but I think they get boxed in as cheesy. And then I always say, well, hey, you go and write one of those. Let's see if you can get it.
Of course. And just disclaimer, when I say cheesy, this Toto's like top 5 bands of all time for me. So.
Oh yeah, well I think a lot of times when people love something, they try to like, I'm into those cheesy songs, to make it like.
Yeah, it's my.
Because if you come straight out and go, Yeah, I'm heavily into Toto, Hold the Line. I like Steely Dan, FM. You know, people would be like, "You're joking, right?" It's like, no, not at all.
Yeah.
You know?
Most people are thinking I'm going to say Iron Maiden,
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah, you're
Led
like
Zeppelin.
me. When you look at someone, you're just judging them by their look. Tattoos, you got a mohawk. You're like, oh, yeah. And it's like, nah, there's way more than there. You know? You just don't take the time to figure it out.
So I worked on my foot a lot, on my right foot, and tried to develop speed and listen to the drummers who were single-footed drummers, and just tried to develop my sound, my style around all of the. I mean, everybody's influenced by something, right? So those drummers, Porcaro, Bonham, you know.
Were you just playing in your bedroom at the house, the garage?
Played the records, and my dad was like, listen as close as you can. I learned the Billie Jean beat. That was the first. He showed me that beat, and he goes, "Listen for that. It's in every song in one way or another." That's basically.
Was your dad a musician or just
Guitar.
a free? Oh, guitar. No
Guitarist.
shit, huh? So would you guys jam and stuff?
Oddly, no, because when I had my drums, I mean, parents were divorced, so like he couldn't just come over to our house and jam.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, might have got weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
We had some family get-togethers, but he never. He got rid of his amp and his electrics in the 70s or something. So he always had an acoustic laying around, and but we did jam. I don't know, like 12 years ago, and played the blues. My dad couldn't keep a 12-bar form, but it was fun. I followed him. I could feel him. You listen to Howlin' Wolf and Skip James, those old guys, man. They're not playing 12-bar blues. They're playing off the lyric. And when they want to change to the next line or the next chord, they just do it.
It's up to them.
Yeah, and you hear those drummers. Those drummers aren't setting up the next chord change. They're just good.
Yeah, there's no format.
There's no
They're just laying down basically a loop.
Yeah, and I think that's the school my dad comes from. Comes from Louisiana, growing up in the sticks, and didn't have electricity till he's like 10 years old, and played guitar. He was attracted to the blues, and then got heavily into the Beatles. When the Beatles came out, that was the first band to play chords that wasn't just 1-4-5 or the 1-6-4-5 like the classic Motown and of
course
those chord changes. The Beatles were doing these minor sevens and the major sevens and dominant chords and playing in keys that weren't normal keys that everybody was playing. Most of the old music you hear is in like E or A or
440 regular tunings, standard patterns, verse chorus, bridge, and then out chorus.
And then so the Beatles changed everything. They were the first band. They were the first where you had four guys' faces on a poster. You had lyrics in the album covers. You had bands writing their own music. Everyone
outfits.
Other people used to write everybody's music. Smokey Robinson wrote 90% of the Motown songs. So
yeah. God, I went to that Motown studio last year.
Oh, you did?
Have you been there, Hitsville?
No.
Oh, you got to go.
I know.
You can't believe it. It's like the size of this living room right here.
Yeah.
And then there's just the control booth right there with the glass, and you're like, whoa, it's all in this room. And then they lived upstairs writing tunes, and it's crazy. And then eventually just started buying the whole block. Like across the street, the dance class. Over there's the seamstresses. It's Hitsville. It became a whole factory there on that whole street. And you go in there, and it is magic, man. It is magic. It's a lot like you guys being able to record this year at Sun Studios.
Or Muscle Shoals.
Muscle Shoals
sound,
yeah. Those Sun Studios, Muscle Shoals, Hitsville, that stuff.
Fame.
It's so the
Stacks in Memphis.
The simplicity of them is why it's so good. There's no room to get confused. It's like, this is what it is. Back then, 4-track, all guys in one room. They're like this close. It's boiling hot, no AC, laying down Mustang Sally.
Yeah.
You're going, what? It blew me away when I went in there, and I will go again. I'm going to be in Detroit next month. I'm going to go one more time. I feel like I need to go in there and soak it up again.
Gosh,
the first time, there. it's like a, you're just praying. It's a lot of times I've been going to these places like Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You're just like, it's so much, you can't take it in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is too much to. I mean, in a good way. It's so much. You got to give yourself some time. I was just in Detroit. Rival Sons was with Stone Temple Pilots. Just there like 2 weeks ago, and I failed to.
Well, I mean,
we're busy on tour sometimes.
I get it,
but
I've been there. I toured the whole planet for years and didn't see shit.
Yeah.
Except for the hotel lobby, and that would be it.
Yeah.
And then now, when I'm on the road, I hit the streets.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I've been in this state 100 times. I've never seen this. Let's go.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I can. I've got to go back to these places.
That's what Jay and I, about 6 years ago, I took up running and ran a marathon, a couple half marathons, and then Jay started running with me. And so it's pretty much our pastime on tour is to go running and find a trail, find a river, find whatever, and just to get away from the bus, get away from the hotel, get away from the venue, from the instruments, put on your shorts. I leave my phone on the bus or in the hotel and just go and no headphones. Just it's meditative, and you get to see
you see stuff when you're
see the
running
sights,
and walking.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you run and you're like, oh, there's a Vietnamese pho place. Okay, cool. You program that in your brain. Come back to the hotel. You go on Yelp and you find it's a 5-star place. Oh, I know exactly where it is now. It's a 10-minute walk.
Yeah.
So you get to scout the city and
road life.
Yeah.
So you get your kit, appetite's out. You're playing. Do you join a band? What's your first band, and how does this go down?
Yeah, high school started a band, and we were into Van Halen.
Oh yeah,
and Toto, and of course, Appetite was pretty big, and
Van Halen and Toto.
Yeah, so we're trying to learn Rosanna. We're trying to learn Hold the Line. We had no singer, so we were just playing the riffs, playing Panama, playing Jump and Top Jimmy and like all these songs, and so that
just
was
in Orange County.
Yeah, this is my guys in Orange. I lived in Seal Beach, and right by Long Beach. Ended up going to Long Beach State, so that's kind of. I kept moving my way. I moved in Fullerton, and then I lived in Seal Beach, and then Long Beach. So those are the first guys I played with. It was in football, and then we always made fun of we called them band geeks, and so the marching band guys would be out there. The football practice would be happening over here. The band would be practicing.
So you were a jock also.
Oh yeah. So
you're like jock rock.
I still am at heart. I love sports and I train. I stay in shape and stuff like that. I approach drums like I'm approaching a soccer player. It's 90 minutes, right? So most sets are 90 minutes or 60 minutes NFL football game. I mean, those guys they show up 3 hours before a game. They're warming up. They put their headphones on. They're running the field. They're doing calisthenics. I have my pre-show ritual. I approach it like a sport. So, so I was a football player freshman, sophomore year, and then sprained my ankle, and I couldn't play my drums for like 6 weeks.
Oh shit!
Brought my helmet in, set it on the coach's desk, and I said, I'm going to join the band. And I went auditioned for the jazz band and got in. Then I auditioned for the marching band and did that. I just 180.
That's ballsy, right? Like, you're
a
jock, and all of a sudden you're
all my buddies, like our older buddies who were seniors when we were freshmen, that pins in their knees and their ankles, broke bones, tore ACLs, and even the older guys. When you're in the sports world, you knew who the guys who went to college and kind of did something that had a name, and you're hearing these stories of these guys just ruining their bodies, and I knew I wanted to be a drummer. So I'm like, why am I going to ruin my body? It's not serving my ultimate goal. I always knew I wanted to be a drummer. So
that's a wise move.
Yeah.
You blow out your knees or your hips or anything, or your back. Look, I got neck fuck up right now. You get that shit at an early age, and it's with you for a long time.
Yeah.
So you're playing with those guys, and of course everybody has that played music. They have the first guys they're playing with, and then eventually, do you get in a band that starts gigging?
Yeah. So that band, we ended up getting these two female singers who were in the show choir and stuff. And we did one gig, and it was our senior year. And so that was my first gig. Then I graduated. Then I got in jazz band in college. So I was mostly been doing the band geek stuff, the school stuff, the educational learning orchestra, mallets, marimba, xylophone, vibraphone, timpani, all the traps and the cymbals and bass drum and gong and like the whole percussion section of an orchestra. Learned that, and but in college I got in a band. It was a jam band, and that's when I got turned on to the Grateful Dead.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so
man.
I had this. I was in a band with double drummers, and guy's still my best friend to this day.
Two drummers.
And,
oh wow!
Yeah.
This is cool to hear.
And he gave me my first hit of acid when I had tripped before in high school a few times and stuff. But sorry, Mom and Dad, if you're listening. So he came over with a backpack full of CDs. He brought Without a Net, Grateful Dead, Without a Net, Yes, Topographic Oceans, Jimi Hendrix, Electric Ladyland, and that's all I remember right now. And so we dropped and then just started listening to music. And then there'd be time where we wouldn't be listening to music. We'd go out and have a smoke, have a beer. Then we'd put on a CD and we wouldn't talk for the length of that CD and just let the music happen. I had never listened, because every time, we'd go camping and it would just be, we'd be like eating pizza and like rubbing pizza all over our face and just doing stupid stuff. And this is the first time I went, whoa, this is where all this music that I love came from, this psychedelic experience and the electric Kool-Aid acid tests. And the Grateful Dead was the house band for the electric Kool-Aid acid test. So it's like,
stuff.
I got it instantly, and then went to my first Jerry Garcia show. And then the next summer I went to Vegas, was my first Dead show.
Wow.
Yeah. So
what are we talking? Brent era, like late 80s?
No. 92.
Oh yeah.
Vegas.
So right when he passes away.
Brent passed away in 90 or 91.
Right.
I saw him with Vince Welnick.
Yeah.
And there was that interim period where Bruce Hornsby was
that's right.
playing with them.
Yeah.
Those shows are great if you're a Dead tape follower, the Dick's Picks and all that. Find the era with Bruce Hornsby. Yeah. I mean, Brent's my all time. His backup harmonies, his voice,
and his vibe, and his look,
and
the way him and Jerry were just like pirates.
Yeah,
that was just like, especially when he first joins, and they're really fucking. I mean, they are on like 78, 79.
Oh yeah,
80. You're like, oh, they got some muscle here. This sounds great.
They might. It sounds. I mean, Jerry's voice is kind of like. Maybe he's coked up a little bit. I don't know, because the tempos are all fast and that early 80s.
Yeah. It's funny because I was way into that, and then I go see Dead & Co., and their nickname is Dead and Slow, because they play like Shakedown Street on like half,
Oh, yeah.
Hanging around on Shakedown Street. Used to be the heart of town. I'm like, come on, this is a rocker.
Yeah, and the '80s version's like,
been hanging around on Shakedown Street.
Yeah,
used to be the heart of town. It's so fucking up there, man. Like the right hand's got to be going, and Truckin' has like a million verses. They'd play that fast. He's like, blah, 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 blah. I mean, I was like, wow, I don't even think I could do Truckin'. Unless I rehearsed it for weeks. That is such a hard song to sing, and so many words.
That used to trip me out, and I finally realized they had teleprompters in the later days.
Yeah, in the later
But I'm like,
days.
how did they have a 500 song list of songs to choose from? They had their staple, like 50 or 60 that they were on constant rotation. When you see them, you always saw Stella Blue, like towards the end, you'd see these, or they would do like Fire on the Mountain. What was the?
Yeah, they would have like the ones that would go back to back, like He's Gone and the other one or something. All the stuff that was like key.
Yeah, Help Slip Frank.
Yeah, Help Slip Frank. That's still a classic.
They would do those and so they would have their staples, but then they would pepper in their sets with like old ones just to make everybody happy.
Yeah.
Oh, I was at that show when they played Dark Star, and they hadn't played it for 22 years
That's
or
the
something.
Classic. That one guy's holding a sign, no Dark Star and 641 gigs or whatever. Then they just whip it out. People start going crazy.
Yeah.
That's what a following to have that. So you're playing in a dual drum band, and this is like early 90s, and are you starting to become like full hippie vibe? Because the jam world is big, the Horde tour's happening.
Yep.
Blues Traveler's big. At the same time,
Fish.
we've got grunge.
Fish
we've
had just
got
come out.
all that, Mother Hips, Blues Traveler, Fish. All of a sudden, Black Crows are jamming, and Blind Melon's out there, and all this stuff. Government Mule. I don't know if they were then, but Allman Brothers.
Allman Brothers came back.
Yeah, they came back, and they had that second set or whatever record, and everybody with that Horde thing was. I love that scene.
Yeah.
I went to that and loved it.
I maintain that balance of doing well in school. Don't ask me how. I got decent grades, and I was, I sat on the top chairs of in the orchestras and the jazz bands, and I was in the steel drum orchestra. I was the main drummer in there, and I kicked ass in music school. I loved it. We did a lot of world music and stuff. So about the only hippie look thing I had was a super long goatee and everything. But I kept my hair short, and the hippie, the deep hippies that followed the dead, and didn't have, they lived out of their cars and stuff. That was a whole other scene that I never got close to, and I never avoided it. But I knew I had aspirations to have a career in music, and I knew jumping in a car and just dropping out wasn't going to be the way I found success.
I was the same way. I used to call them hippie dirt.
Yeah.
You dirts.
Yeah.
We call them dirts. And Trustafarians.
We call them river rats.
Everybody had a name for them, right?
Sorry to all you hippies out there.
Well, I think that I always say I love the Dead, but it was their fans that turned me off from them for so long, because it's like you can be too much hippie. Mm-hmm. You got the tie-dye, the white guy dreads, the dreaded beard even. Mm-hmm. You're playing hacky sack.
Yeah.
You're in a station wagon with 2 or 3 dogs, dirty sleeping bag, and you're just right on. I mean, I'm not knocking it, but to me, I was always like, whoa, man, fucking. And I worked my ass off at a job every day, so I was always like, get a job, you fucking, you fucking losers. I'd work all day and then rehearse all night, blue collar rockers.
Well, I would always go to the drum circles. That was my favorite thing, and I had a few bad experiences. And meanwhile in college, I'm in this Brazilian drum troupe, and we sat in with Ricky Martin, Santana, and ended up going on the Further tour with that first tour, 96, after Jerry died. The next year they did the Further tour. It was Bob Weir, Bruce Hornsby, Hot Tuna, Mickey Hart's band, and we were this Brazilian drum.
I think Kimmock was the guitar player on that. Steve Kimmock, or I can't remember.
That sounds familiar. Yeah,
one of the guys played guitar, but Kimmock was in there later.
Los Lobos was on their Colossal tour or whatever.
Colossal Head.
Dude.
Oh, what a record!
Oh man, I was like 23 on this tour, and just seeing these legends play every night. And then Mickey would ask us to sit in. Bruce Hornsby asked us to sit in, and there were 4 drummers, and then we had 3 Brazilian dancers who wore the huge head pieces, the sequin G-string, the full Rio de Janeiro Carnival outfits and stuff, and I got heavily into that, and so I'm playing with heavyweights. I'm playing with Carlos Santana's guys. I'm not bragging or anything, but when I'm going to a drum circle at a Dead show and some guy's giving me stink eye, because he thinks I'm not playing the right rhythm or something, and I would just adapt and listen to what everybody's doing and go, okay, I'm going to hold a part down, and because all these fools are like soloing the whole time, nobody's laying anything down.
That's hilarious. Drum circle drama.
Oh yeah, full drum circle drama, dude.
I didn't even know that happened.
I almost got in a fight at Santa Monica Beach. The big one they used to have every Sunday or Saturday.
Yeah.
And I never went back. I got so much bad vibes, and it's like, this is supposed to be something that brings people together and unites people. You know?
Yeah, like rhythms of the earth and love and everything. And he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna kick your ass because you're over there playing double time."
And I read Mickey Hart's books and was on tour with Mickey Hart. Like the whole thing is supposed to be about love and unity and rhythm, dude. The rhythm is I mean, the sun rises and sets in rhythm. Our hearts beat in rhythm. We walk in dyads. We're bipeds. We walk in twos. Nature is groups of twos and threes. Like you can break down nature into rhythm. And it's like what secretly or under the undercurrent of all existence, man. To me, not to get too deep, but is true. Rhythm, is music,
starts with the heartbeat, man.
Harmony. Harmony and pitch is all rhythmic. So when you look at frequencies of say you play C and G, that's a fifth apart. And when you listen to those intervals and you slow them way down and look at the frequencies, it's literally playing a perfect polyrhythm. And I could go on and on. Rhythm is what bonds all of us atomically,
Definitely not fighting at the drum circle. That does not bond us.
Yeah, man.
That sounds like a Trump circle. So that is fucking cool that you were out on the Further tour, man. Mm-hmm. Like you've done some great shit. You're just out there on the Further tour. Then you come home. And then you're just grinding it out all through the 90s, obviously, because here Rival Sons doesn't start till what? Is it?
That's late. Well, Rival Sons with Jay is 2008.
Right. So from the 90s all the way to then.
So now we're into the late 90s, and I get into the band I got my first record deal with, who I'm playing with reunion show tonight at Molly Malone's.
Yeah, that's wild.
Called Bird 3, and I met Bird. The bass player was a local Long Beach musician. So when I was in college in Long Beach State, I was playing with 6 or 8 bands, at any given time. And,
hired gun guy.
A band called Delta Nove. You can look them up. They have a bunch of albums out, but hippie jam funk, Brazilian funk. Kind of stuff. And then met Bird and Greg, and we did Bird 3. It was a power trio, kind of Bob Mould Sugar meets Husker Du meets Foo Fighters. It was just coming out at that time. And so it was that late 90s, early 2000s post-grunge kind of sound, and big guitars like the Smashing Pumpkins style, Billy Corgan, huge wall of sound, guitar sounds, and
Bush. They had that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
those kind of bass, just
huge. Like we in the studio, we would do the rhythm guitars and triple, quadruple, quintuple track rhythm guitars, just so you have a palette, or wall of sound.
You got a record deal with them, huh?
Yep. And so we toured.
Who was it with?
Emergent Records. It was an indie label, and we were just talking last night how we should have signed. We had DreamWorks and about 16 other major labels that we were showcasing for, and we chose this independent label because we wanted a small family atmosphere. We shot ourselves in the foot, but we toured with The Cult, Stabbing Westward, Veruca Salt. That's how I met Louise and them from Veruca Salt. And then September 11th happened. Our album dropped June of 2001, and then September 11th happened in September of that year, and basically the music business shut down. Then we got dropped by January 2002, and so I was kind of lost for 2002. And then I got in Joe Furson's band. We opened up for Sheryl Crow, Willie Nelson, Hootie and the Blowfish, and all these people, and then that led me into the Carson Daly years, which brings us kind of full circle.
Yeah. You guys kind of discovered Dave Cobb at the same time he's kind of discovering his career.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Cobb now, good luck getting a record made with him other than the guys that have been there.
Yeah.
The guy is, I heard somebody on your panel call him the Grammy Whisperer, but I call him the new Rick Rubin, as far as the hottest. growing up, there was like, in the early days, you had these producers that everybody knew.
Yeah.
Dave Jordan at the time. Everybody wanted
Mutt
Jordan.
Lange.
Mutt Lange, who's just, and the mystique of these guys, which goes down to even Dave Cobb now, Brendan O'Brien.
I was just going to say Brendan O'Brien.
These are guys that come around and actually know music inside and out and know how to find the best in somebody and actually do it. And that's Dave Cobb has become that. And he's also a guy like Rick Rubin for me where, Cobb did this, I'm going to buy it. That's how Rubin used to be. It was like, what, Rubin did this? It's got to be great. Rubin wouldn't do something back in the day. You would just buy all the Rick Rubin records. Now you buy all the Dave Cobb records. Even
Interesting. I never thought of it that way. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, because you can trust the producer would not, later they go for money, which is why, you get into something, you're like, all right, I'm going to do this for the big money so I can keep my studio open or whatever. But at the time, there's guys like that. And Cobb, his record over the last 5 years, I think the stuff he's done with you guys just blows my fucking mind. But then he does Shooter Jennings' last record. There's a song on there called Denim and Diamonds that's like country Pink Floyd. That I think is one of the best songs I've heard in 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And then, Sturgill, and it's just...
Chris Stapleton.
Yeah, Chris Stapleton.
Brandy Carlisle's last album.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. It's so good.
So good.
Her voice is insane.
Yeah. My buddy, Joe List, loves her. And I was like, oh, this is great. And I go, oh, well, fucking Cop did this.
Yeah.
No wonder it's good, Of course, the artists are great, but I'm saying... There's
John Prine, he just did that.
There's just this thing. So when you guys first working with him, it was cool to hear the story of like, Scott came in with all the stuff demoed because Scott was from that era of like you do everything pre-production, you have it all done.
Yeah.
There's no guessing. You go in the studio and you do it. And then Cobb's like, oh, that's all cool, that's done, but let's do something ourselves. And from there, he's done every record.
Yeah, well, we went into the first record with ideas and pre-production style, and he basically said, "That sounds like it's all done, man. Let's start from scratch." So we did our first album from scratch, wrote those songs in the studio, recorded, finished a song a day. That was our goal, and of course, there was a couple riff ideas that Scott might have had,
of course,
that might have been changed or manipulated a little bit, but we would just come up, brew some coffee, and you get there about 1 p.m. and we'd be done with drums, bass, and guitar by 2 p.m. It was the first idea that came off your
dome.
Yeah,
and that's I want to tell people this is unheard of because studios cost so much money. And you got a record company that's going like, well, let's hear the songs. A lot of times these days, these fucking record companies over the last 20 years would be like, well, go in and demo some more. We're not hearing hits and shit. So to be able to go in and just say, we have nothing, the danger of that, and I think what makes that amazing is it backs you up against a fucking wall and go, we better come up with something.
Yep. And that's the beauty of that way of making albums is your back is up against the wall. There's no way it's either dying or winning, and so we chose winning. And so and some and there's a lot of attrition. I think the last album there was 19 or 21 ideas, only 11 made the album. So in that process, there's not everything is totally winning,
of course,
but we're still moving faster than most bands that are doing pre-production in that.
Well, you got 6 albums out.
7 now.
7 now
with the EP, including the EP.
But that is, I think, one of the key things that makes this band. You're a lot like the comedians these days. New hour every year. That's what keeps people interested. It's kind of like, well, if you didn't like a couple things on this, we've got 5 other records. You're going to find something you're going to like. And then if you love them all, you're in heaven. You go like, man, I've got like, 40 songs, 50 songs here from a band in a period of 8 years or whatever, where some bands do 1 record. And you're just going like, are these guys going to put anything else out? And then they go, well, no one's buying records now. What's it matter? It's like, well, it's for you. It's for you artistically. That's what you got in a fucking band to do. Write songs, play live, tour. It's everything. It can't just be one thing or you just go stagnant.
We're still in a niche. I mean, we're in a niche now where the people want to hear albums. Thank God. And that's what we want to do as artists. So rock and roll is not, it ain't Appetite for Destruction era anymore. It's where you would buy Appetite for Destruction, and I like every song on that album.
Absolutely.
Where bands were doing albums. I mean, even Pearl Jam 10, Nirvana, Nevermind, Soundgarden, Black Hole Sun, and like all our Bad Motorfinger. All those were albums, and you bought the album. Even White Stripes. Like I'll buy a Jack White album, and it. Like the Rick Rubin thing, if Jack White is involved with it all, I'll check it out.
I'm on board with that for sure.
Of course, yeah.
Everything he's done, Dead Weather, White Stripes, the Raconteurs. I can never say a fucking band. I can never say the name.
Raconteurs.
Yeah.
Raconteurs.
Yeah, Raconteurs. They're friends of mine, and I'm just like, hey, fuck this band name, man. But yeah, Rival Sons is just, it's so dangerous to go into the studio and hope you get something. And also, it's such an old school way. And what I really like about it is there's no room to second guess. And what's coming out is organic. First, Pressure and Time for me had a Zeppelin flavor. But then you guys grew because you're a new band. And then you get into Head Down. It's kind of a little bit of Kinks-ish. And then you get some Animals flavor. And now you're starting to get all this flavor. Now, by the time we get to this new record, Feral Roots, this fucking thing sounds 100% original, complete Rival Sons. Yeah. It's like, wow. And the depth and layers of these songs on the new record, it took a long time for them to unravel for me. Jay played it for me in his truck early on when it wasn't even out yet. And I was like, I don't even know what I'm hearing right now. It was so dense.
It is.
But so fucking great.
It's one of those albums where you hear something new every time you listen to it. And even me, I went through the mixing and mastering where you just want to like shoot yourself and not ever listen to it again. And then you put it on a few months later, and now when I put the record on, or somebody has it on, or I'm at a friend's house and they're like, "Hey, I'm going to put your album on. Or is that okay?" or whatever, and I'm like, "Okay, go ahead."
Yeah.
And then so I'm sitting there having a glass of wine, having a conversation in the kitchen with somebody, and I'm hearing, "Oh, I forgot I did that on the hi-hat," or I never heard the lyrics. I never heard that Jay said it that way. I never noticed that, or Scott's licks or a bass line. It's I hear something new, every time that I hear it. So, and that's all my favorite records are like that. I still put on Royal Scam by Steely Dan, and I'm hearing these ghost note things that I never, or maybe I got some new headphones that are really dope, and I'm hearing like a little arpeggiated guitar part in the background that you don't hear unless you have headphones.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so yeah, music brings it together, man.
Was it a big blow because rhythm sections are such a big deal? I always say, show me a great band and I guarantee it's got a great drummer. There's never a great band with a shit drummer. It just hasn't happened. But also very underrated is full rhythm section. If you look at, as of course, a lot of people don't even, I talked about it being a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. People are just walking by John Paul Jones's bass and outfit from Song Remains the Same. And I'm like, hey, do you fucking look here, you know? But when Robin left, was that kind of a blow to you? Like, fuck, did you feel you were totally locked in with that guy? Or was it like we could find better or something totally different?
No, he was cream of the crop, and that's why we brought him in and dealt with him. He was quirky individual, and he was more of a music nerd than I was, and he was not the rock and roll looking kind of person. That's all I'll say about that. He tried really hard to kind of fit into that, but I think the road just made him weary, and the road just wears on certain people a certain way. And it was unfortunate because he's one of the best bass players I ever played with, and he's on 4 of our albums, and I wish him the best. And it was tough. He didn't leave us on good terms, so that's on him. That's what he has to go to bed every night and remember how he quit the band and all that. That's all I'll say about that. I could go on and on about that, but Dave Bestie is more of a team player, and he's more of he's got a sense of songwriting that backs Jay's thing up in a way, and he's also playing drums with Jay and Scott is like holding on to 2 wild stallions, in a corral, and at one time.
Like Caesar style.
Yeah.
You're up there.
Or like you're trying to tame 2 wild stallions at the same time. And I mean, you're going to be tossed and turned all over you're going to fall on your face and be dragged, in the dirt. It's really intense because Jay's rhythmic sensibility is way different than Scott's. And so there's this fight, and Jay always calls it a knife fight. I don't know if you've ever heard him use that terminology, but Bestie is like, if you have, if you just pour Elmer's glue, kind of all over the whole fight, he just glues us all together, Yeah. And so I'm the guy holding the ropes, and Bestie's kind of the molasses, that keeps us all together. So,
did you guys audition other guys, or was it just you knew you were going with him?
No, we didn't audition anyone. Robin left the band, and we all finished a tour, and everyone went to their different terminals at the airport, and Robin called us all in the airport before we all flew home for a small break. And I'm like, really? You couldn't have just done it last night when we're all sitting there having a beer?
Didn't want to do it face to face.
Yeah, and so it was 5-minute calls each. He called everybody. And
oh my God, at the airport.
And then 10 minutes later, I text Jay and Scott together on a little text thread. And Jay's first response was Dave Bestie. Oh. Like in a matter of minutes, Bestie was already like front runner. But Bestie was in this other band. So we're thinking, okay, if he's going to commit to that band, then we have some other guys. I have some friends here that I came up with in Hollywood, Darwin Johnson, Eric Curtis, some guys I played with here in Hollywood. Great players that can sing backups and no jazz and no jamming and no rock and all that. So, but Bestie goes way back with Jay, like to 2002, 2003.
Oh wow!
And so,
he's a Long Beach guy. Oh shit!
Yeah. So I knew Bestie back in Long Beach. I never got to play with Bestie. We always joked around and said we'd play together someday,
Yeah.
And so it's kind of funny. I think Bestie even one night drunk told me, he's like, "You guys got to get rid of your bass player. You guys need to have me be your bass player," something to that effect.
Yeah.
And so
when
there you have it.
When he came in, were you like, "Wow, this is fucking," because it's a totally different style of playing. When it comes in, Dave, were you just like, this is crazy?
I was appreciative that he learned most of the nuances of it, and there's some stuff that he probably just opinion wise didn't like what Robin played,
right.
But he's embraced it. Robin was a real angular jazzer, and he was kind of a show off, and so there's probably more so than Dave. he's like, wow, gosh, you're playing bass fills all over.
Oh yeah, kind
a
of like
verse.
Phil Lesh style.
Yeah,
right? Just traveling
or
around.
like John Entwistle from the Who. John Paul Jones.
Oh yeah.
He laid it down and was simple when he needed to, but John Paul Jones could
he'd be
really
all over.
get all over that neck. But I mean, Robin could play Jaco. He could play Jaco Pastorius lines on the bass, and he was next level. And so in that way, he was kind of hard to relate to because he was in another stratosphere, right. and he thought the whole rock scene was kind of in the jazz world
below him.
Yeah, in the jazz world,
he's slumming it.
I came up in the jazz scene, like college jazz band and playing cafes, and you're listening to Miles Davis and all these guys, Roy Hargrove, the new guys that are coming out, and you're reading interviews, and there's kind of this like vibe, like rock, Nirvana. Those guys are, just poo-pooing these guys that are making 10 digits a year.
Well, that's such a facade to put on.
It is,
because inside those people really want what those guys have.
Yeah.
But it's also like it's not cool to have that, and then you're just playing this dumb character. Yeah. You're like, wait a minute, am I playing music to be hip and cool? Like, oh yeah, you know me, I don't care about record deals. There's always dudes like that.
Yeah.
Oh really? Yeah. Okay. Or
then there's the guy that's like, all I care about is the record deals and the chicks and the money. Too. And they suck, you know. And there's a lot of famous bands out there that can't play their instruments very well.
It's just all about organic. You play at first because it blew your mind. It was like, whoa, these guys, it's dangerous and crazy. What is this? And then you start playing, and then it weeds out the chick dudes. Like, I want to get chicks and get high. Those guys weed out quick because they're like, this sucks. Yeah. And then eventually you figure out who the lifers are. And that's a lot comes down to, like we're saying, Robin gets out on the road. He's like, whoa, fuck, these guys really want to keep doing this. This schedule that Rival Sons did and still do is unheard of in this day and age of, like, I've talked to bands who have a record out that have only played maybe 12 gigs. And it's like, well, you're not even a band.
I know.
You're not even doing it. Like, when people tell me they're a comedian, I go, oh yeah, where do you go on? They go, well, last month I went on. It was like, oh, you're not a comedian or a musician unless you're doing it every fucking day.
Yeah.
It's just what you are. A carpenter doesn't fucking work one day a month. Yeah. I'm a carpenter. I went down there and sawed some wood. Got the bandsaw out. Like, no, you're not. It's, So
that's true.
The schedule that you guys have had, because I know you're married, you've got kids, and the other guys are married, and some aren't, but they all have kids, and it's not like you're in your 20s where it's like we're gone for years, like GNR. When they hit, they're gone for 3 fucking years. They didn't have anything, But once you get into this later in your life, you're like, well, shit, man, I haven't seen my kids in months. It's wild.
Yeah.
And that's a commitment, man. And that shows from your fan base of what's going on in Europe, of course, is massive. Rival Sons, massive. And that's like early on, like Kings of Leon did, Strokes. They all went over there and just mined the fuck out of Europe until America caught on. And now America is catching on to you guys, which is absurd because they're playing like Pressure and Time. And you're going, oh, well, now they play Too Bad and stuff. But I mean, for a while when you guys started to, they're playing 3 records ago. It's like,
KLOS was playing us like in rotation.
Yeah.
And they were picking from Pressure and Time album and Head Down a lot. You'd hear Keep on Swinging, Pressure and Time. You'd hear Burn Down Los Angeles.
Yeah.
We were going to play that at the Wiltern, but there was all those fires were breaking out in Sylmar.
It's just rude.
Yeah. We're like, maybe we'll keep that one back on the back burner until next time.
I played you guys on KLOS easily, like, I don't know, it was years ago. I was in there for a Sunday night show, and they were like, "Hey, who are you into?" And I was playing you guys on there, and then 3 years later, they're playing the song that I played. Hey, I fucking was playing that. If you would have just listened and played some L.A., you know. But you know, they do got that one cool show on Sundays now, new music, which is great.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, what's his name? He's like Steve Jones' partner. I forget his name, but he does like an hour of new music. Pretty cool. I hear some bands on there, and I'm like, oh, wow.
Oh, cool.
These guys are cool, yeah. What, okay, you're getting ready to go out on the Europe tour here. You got 3 weeks off. And then you're going out for the rest of the year, headlining all over, big rooms.
Brixton Academy, the Olympia in Paris. We're doing Moscow and St. Petersburg.
Well, Moscow?
We're headlining Russia for the first time.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so we got
sick.
Moscow, St. Petersburg, and Helsinki. You know, we're doing Scandinavia. Scandinavia's bread and butter for us. We love it up there. They love us. And the UK, obviously, we do well there. And France is an amazing country. If you're up and coming musician, aim for France, because you can play 9 to 15 to 20 cities in France. I mean, it's a big country, and all those little countries have scenes, and then they have good wine, and it's just France is amazing.
You remember some of those early tours when you guys were in the fucking van and it was all cold? You're in Europe. You don't even know where the fuck you are.
Yeah.
And then I remember when you guys finally got a bus.
Yeah.
Jay was like, we got a bus on this tour so I can finally sleep. My voice won't be trashed.
Yeah.
That's wild, right?
Oh, dude. Well, the bus is, you at least have a quarters to where you can go and retreat away from everyone. You can read a book, you can put in your headphones and watch movies, you can go to sleep, you can take a nap in the middle of the day if you need to, like between sound check and the gig. I usually get a little 20 to 40 minute cat nap in between sound check, dinner, and the gig, and it just kind of it resets the clock. And then I wake up, do my calisthenics, my resistance bands, my boxing, my warm-ups. I have a warm-up kit, and you know, I get in that regimen. But having the bus is great for sleep.
Yeah, well, the getaway too, just getting out of the venue. So you're going to do this, and then what? Are you guys doing a new record or keep touring Feral Roots?
Right now, we've been so hardcore this year. We're going to take the holidays off. December, January, and then there might be some stuff. We do some fly dates in February, and we'll probably start grinding it out, you know, March in through next summer, and then we'll probably be done with the album cycle by the end of next summer. This time next year, we should be going into the studio to make another record. So, Shooting Stars is the next single. It's coming out in two radio formats, and it's coming out in Active Rock and AAA. And AAA is kind of the precursor. It's a format we've never done, so wish us luck. It's the precursor to alternative, adult contemporary, hot AC, hot adult contemporary, which could lead to pop, you know. And I think if there's any song we've ever written, Shooting Stars could be one that is the bridge between all the other, you know, the crossover, right. Having the crossover appeal.
Oh man, I think the crossover tune, I gotta look it up real quick because my brain does not work at all anymore. Which I don't know what happened. It's supposed to be way better since I quit sugar, but it's not. But I think the crossroad is Stood By Me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the crossover tune.
Well, the label, the management, you know, everyone puts their 2 cents in when you finish the record, and everyone kind of brings their consensus together. What's the first single, and what do we think a follow-up single would be, blah, blah, blah. And that song, it was one of all of our favorites, and it reminds me of Creedence, Creedence Clearwater.
Oh, yeah. It's got a summer flavor to it, boy. I thought, this would be a great summer single in a way of like Dance the Night Away, Van Halen. It's not that vibe, but something that comes on in the summer and you're like, this is a summer jam right here.
Yeah.
Like when I was growing up, get some California coolers, hit the river and put on Stood By, you know,
yeah.
it's like, it's got that vibe.
And it's got that big anthemic thank you in the choruses.
Yeah.
And I got to say thank you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Shooting Stars, though,
I love that song. I love this whole record, which is it's just unbelievable. This record, the artwork, the tunes, and as it came out, it unrolled new favorites weekly, which made it like a lot like Appetite to me. Like, oh man, when it came out, I loved Feral Roots. That was my tune.
Mm-hmm.
But then Too Bad became the fucking tune for me. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And then when you go see a band live and they play like End of Forever, you're like, oh man, this tune. Yeah, and that's when I love a great record. It really starts to unravel.
End of Forever, man. When we finished that, I was rooming. Me and Scott had an Airbnb, and Dave Bestie and Jay lived in Nashville, so they went home every night. So Scott and I were just roommates. We would listen to what we did at the end of the day, and we had just demos of End of Forever, and I'm like, man, this song could be the next James Bond theme, you know?
Oh yeah.
It's got the drama, it's got the huge rock riff, and it's got this like beautiful verse. It's got the little drum loop. That drum loop is from a 1960s drum machine, quote, drum machine that's only has like knobs and little buttons.
Oh,
and,
I know those crazy ones.
I forgot what it's called, but and you get your tempos and everything from knobs, and the intensity of like the bass drum part will be done with a knob, and Sly and the Family Stone used it on the Fresh album, on In Time, the opening track of Sly and the Family Stone, Fresh. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's
hell yeah.
the same exact drum machine. So and then we just turned it on, and then I played to it, and then
wow.
The band played over me, and then and that's how we built that song. But yeah, it was a crazy way. The flow of the album is weird. That's for sure.
I like the flow of the record. It's definitely to me seems like it would be a really hard record to format to put in order, you know, because it's like. But I think it does. I think it does do it. If you're on vinyl, I don't know. Does it open on side 2 with Too Bad? I can't remember.
No, I think we end. No, yeah, maybe we open side 2 with Too Bad.
That's what it feels like it would.
Because we have a side 3. So.
Oh, that's right.
Actually, I think we end with Look Away, and side 2 begins with Feral Roots, Too Bad, Stood By Me, Imperial Joy, and then side 3 is All Directions Into Forever, Shooting Stars. Yeah.
Well, fuck, man.
We're looking at a song list right now. That's how we're so.
Yeah. I still think that Rival Sons, and I truly believe this, are going to end up doing a psychedelic record. There's something to me that feels like there's going to be a psychedelic record.
I would definitely love that. I mean, we're into psychedelic music, all of us, in one way, shape, or form. I think we come from different backgrounds. Obviously, I'm coming from a Grateful Dead background, and Fish. I loved Fish.
Yeah.
I still love Fish.
Scott from a Radiohead psychedelic kind of a vibe of OK Computer.
Yeah.
And
we just played with Fish at Bonnaroo, dude, and Scott was. I texted everybody, you gotta watch Fish. Like, even if you don't like them, just go watch it. You will be highly entertained.
Yeah.
Scott came on the bus, mind blown. Like, you know the emoji with the brain coming out?
Yeah.
Scott's like sitting on the bus, and he's just riffing for like 45 minutes, talking about how Trey Anastasio was what he was doing, and how he's had his tone and the licks he's playing, the interaction with the drummer, and you know.
And Oysterhead's back together.
Oh wow.
They're going to do 2 gigs, which is really wild.
Wow.
And I'm sure they'll go further than that, but
that's Primus guy.
That's
Les Claypool.
That's Stuart Copeland.
And Stuart Copeland, yeah.
And fucking Trey, dude. That's crazy band. They got one record out, and it's wild.
Oh, my. Are you serious? They're coming back.
It's funny when you put it on, immediately you go, that's Stuart Copeland.
Yeah.
You just fucking hear it. You go, that's Stuart, you know? I saw Trey play the Last Dead shows, Fare Thee Well. And he was great. Loved him in that, but man, John Mayer just fucking owning this gig.
Crushes it.
Owning this gig.
Yeah. I was very pleased to see John Mayer. I knew he could do it, and I was into his blues thing with Pino Palladino and Steve Jordan.
Yeah.
That little trio thing, and his singer-songwriter stuff, you know.
Bought his Wonderland or whatever. But man, he's way beyond
I know
that.
he's super talented, and when I heard him play Sit In for Jerry, it was like one of the first shows, and I put it on YouTube, and it was like 2.5 hours, the recording on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'll just check out the first couple. I listened to the whole show.
Oh.
And I was the jaw on the floor, just giving it up to John Mayer, just like, wow.
Fucking smoking.
Nailed it.
Well, thanks for doing the show, dude.
Oh, yeah, man. Are
And
we wrapping it up? Okay.
Yeah, have a great gig tonight. Let's give them your Instagram.
Cool. Yeah. Miley on drums with a Z, like Miley Cyrus, MILEYONDRUMZ. That's my kind of my moniker. You can, let's see, it's on Facebook.com/Michael Miley Rival Sons, all one word.
Yep.
And and Twitter is Miley on drums as well. And
Real quick, you're a Gretsch guy.
Yep.
Were you always a Gretsch guy after your CB700 and that stuff? What got you into that?
No, when I was playing with Joe Firstman and through those years, I was, and on the Carson Daly Show, we had a Mayer Brothers kit, who I played Mayer Brothers for 11 years, and independent guy here in LA, makes them out of his garage, and now he does the Craviato. He still makes Mayer Brothers drums, but he's the main, he does the wraps and the stains and all the custom work for Craviato's drums. Oh yeah, Jack Mayer, good guy, solid dude, loves beer, good friend of mine. We remained friends. He said I always knew this day would come. I mean, Gretsch came in and offered me like a bunch of drum sets, and you know, I had never had free stuff, and Gretsch was a company that I'd always loved and admired. And some of my favorite drummers who played Gretsch. It's a legendary company. The guitars. Fred Gretsch, the owner, still sends Christmas cards to all the artists. And
wow, he's still alive?
Yeah, handwritten Christmas cards, and it's just a real family thing. Keith Carlock, Steely Dan's drummer. Played with Sting, Steely Dan. He's one of my favorite drummers on planet Earth. He plays Gretsch, and
I love Gretsch. I like Sonar. Remember Aot? Mm-hmm. Those guys, that guy in Canada.
Yeah, I haven't heard Aot in a long time. Do they still make those?
Yeah, well, I saw the guy. It was like one dude. I saw him at the NAMM show a couple of years ago. He's just standing there, and I was like, "Fuck, man!" I kind of felt my heartstrings were pulled because at one point he was so hot because. What's his name in Soundgarden played him.
Oh yeah, Matt Cameron.
Yeah, and then everybody was into him. And now I went to see if Matt still played him, and he plays like a Yamaha that looks like a copy of the AI kit with the wood hoops.
The wood hoops, yeah.
Yeah. But those drums sound great, and I mean the drums these days. It really depends who's really treating you right as an artist and taking care of you.
Yeah.
Because everybody's got some damn good drums out there, Gretsch and Ludwig and Sonar, and they're all good.
It's like my uncle told me, it's the fool, not the tool. Like you can, I mean, of course I love that great Gretsch sound in quotes, but if you know how to tune and you know how to play and you have good technique and you're musical, I could make a CB700 sound good today because it's just how you tune it, how you play it, the finesse you're using, and knowing the gig you're playing. If you're playing it like arms above the head, you're like playing Nirvana,
Tommy
Grohl,
Lee, big swing shit,
Tommy Lee level stuff. You got to know how to tune for hard hitting stuff. If you're playing sensitive stuff, like you're playing with I don't know, some singer songwriter,
Wilco.
Yeah,
Wilco. So that drum kit's tuned completely kind of saggy, kind of long run sounding.
Yep.
Eagles, where it's just like the skins are kind of dead. I love that sound. Just I used to worry, that's just the drums are just a thing.
Yeah,
really cool.
Steely Dan, those they would, or Fleetwood Mac, they would put towels on top of the drums, so it's just like. I
like that.
Yeah, it's got a thing. So,
are you a CBD guy?
I loved CBD. I actually take it quite often. It helps me relax after a show.
I'm going to hook you up with some CBD Lion right now.
Oh, cool. What is...
CBD Lion is a complete gluten-free, vegan, organic, non-GMO, zero THC, super clean CBD. CBDlion.com.
Lion like King of the Jungle. Okay.
Yeah, and I rock this lotion right here. I got that fucked up neck, so I go the 900 milligram lotion, and then I love the tinctures, man. The 5,000 to go to sleep.
Ooh, they got a 5,000?
They got a 5,000.
Oh, that's a high concentrate. Yeah,
that is. And then they got the gummies. I got some gummies around here. You can have some.
Yeah, give me a gummy right now.
Yeah, right. And then the shatters. Are you a vape guy?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to hook you up right now.
I do it all. Yeah.
I got a bunch of vapes for you here. CBDlion.com, people. Use it. And, they even got the pet stuff. You got hyper pets.
Oh, nice.
Go to sleep, little doggy.
What about for kids? You got one for 3-year-olds?
Gummies. I love it. Don't give it to your kids, people. I
would love to get my daughter to sleep better.
Oh,
she's 3.
Oh, she's 3. Oh, we can't. Anyway, CBDlion.com. Use the code DEAN for 20% off everything. I love these guys, and they're just fantastic. And God, it's great that we've lived into a time where psilocybins are good for helping with your anxiety and depression and stuff, and CBD.
For cancer treatment. I mean, the THC, all the compounds in the cannabis plant are there's over 221 biological compounds that can reduce pain, inflammation, depression, you name it, sleep patterns, and bronchial dilators, and they used to treat asthmatics with weed. With THC, yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. And nausea, if you have nausea, there's so many benefits to it. And
especially cancer people like to be able to eat, to get your appetite back and stuff. CBD Lion has been fucking, man, I use this cream and it actually saves me, man. It's unbelievable. All organic and not made from some, garage chemist. This isn't your 7-Eleven CBD. This is some top-of-the-line CBD. CBDlion.com. Use the code DEAN. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for doing the show. Oh, God, I just absolutely love the band, and I cannot wait to see you guys again and again. Every time I'm around you guys, I just feel like, oh, here's some brothers, and I feel like we kind of started at the same time, my comedy and your music, and we're just grinding it out there, and we see each other somewhere on the road, and it's like, oh, yeah, and I opened for you guys at the Fillmore. That was epic.
Dean, he jumps on the bus with us.
Yeah.
He's not above sleeping in the front lounge if all our bunks are taken.
I slept in that front lounge like a fucking soldier up there, man. Woke up, we were at the James Corbin, got some breakfast burritos, watched The Rock. It was great. God, cool. that Fillmore gig was epic.
Thank you.
Especially when they were booing me.
We met Bob Weir that night.
We met Bob Weir. I showed the picture because it's his birthday today.
Oh, no way. Happy birthday, Bob.
And fucking John Mayer's birthday.
Oh, no way.
Same day.
They have the same day?
Isn't that crazy? And Flea's birthday. But look, you're going to love this. I posted that photo from backstage.
Nice.
There it is, Fillmore.
Yeah, I have that picture. I should post that today too, because it's his birthday. I love him. Jay's really close to him.
I know. They work together.
Yeah, they've been working together, writing together, and we're I don't think we can say what's coming out, but they've been working really hard together on a project of Bob's. So I can't wait to hear.
Yeah, it's gonna be wild, man.
My boy Jay, one of my brothers in arms, man, is playing with one of my favorite legends of all time.
I love you guys, man, and shout out to Todd. Let's give a shout out to Todd too. He doesn't get enough glory. Got to get him on the show. I've actually had everyone on the show now. Oh, no, I got to have Dave on. Yeah. So Dave and Todd.
Yeah. Dave and Todd are your next guys, yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Rival Sons, brand new record. It's been out a while now.
Feral Roots on Atlantic Records.
Everybody always asks me, where the fuck do I start? Start on any of them. I would start with Just
I'd start on Barrel Roots. I mean,
yep,
just
that's
'cause
what I
it's
say, and go backwards.
the album we're doing right now, and one of my favorites is Great Western Valkyrie too.
Oh, I fucking love
It's just got a vibe. And
Oh, the album cover is so cool. It looks like the band, the actual the band.
yeah.
And then, oh man, I mean, Rich and the Poor. Ooh, yeah, so great. All right, guys, we gotta
Thanks.
get the fuck out of here.
Okay.
Thanks for
Peace
tuning
out,
in.
everybody.
See you guys.